So everyone sees the volume. Everyone sees the numbers. People know how many transactions you do. And some people are inspired. And some people, I think, dismiss it where they say, oh, well, you know what? Which is interesting because you talked about being home with your family and in the morning, but they'll say he's never home. I would never want that, all that life, whatever. What does it look like behind the scenes? Like to get your answer on take the volume aside or take the volume. Let's just put it out there. What's behind the scenes?
I mean, there's pros and cons to it. Does it take time and energy? Yes. Does it allow you to create efficiencies in your life too?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The more successful I'm getting, the more I learned like, hey, I'm really good at like 2 or 3 things. Like, let me just really hone in here.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing can be said at home. You know, I'm really good at maintaining these 1 or 2 things in my house. Why am I maintaining the other 8 or 9? Right. And your family obviously, you know, should be one of your main core things that you're investing into. And if you realize I'm good at X, got to spend time with my family, like focus on those 2 things. And because you're so good at X, you can probably get rid of all these other things that you say you enjoy. I always use the analogy of cutting your grass.
Yeah.
I actually sometimes really enjoy cutting my grass because it's alone time. It's whatever. It's, you know, we can have things like that in your life. But I also think 90% of people do not enjoy cutting their grass. They just say they do because, you know, you can't cut your own yard, Caleb, right?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have haters, you haven't made it yet. It is a saying. And I'm not saying I have a bunch of haters, but I hear a lot of times, oh, I could never do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably because they're doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you do less, you can do more.
Right.
Is what I would say to that.
It is tough because people question all those things. My sister yesterday actually just said, well, now that your girls are leaving, you're going to have all this time. So you can probably not have, there's a woman that comes every other week that helps me. And she's like, well, now you won't need her. And I said, well, that might be true, but actually I don't want to go back to running errands and picking up dry cleaning and going to the store. I'd rather take those hours and do work with it, or so I can, and maybe I don't have my girls at home,
help
but
other people.
Yeah, help other people, or
Yep.
I want to go to the gym, but no, I don't want those hours back. Like, but I don't know why that mentality is. I feel like my life is easier with high volume because it allows things, and I've been doing the things I love, like the 2 or 3 things. So for me, it's always making less, hiring more people, having leverage, and just doing whatever I have the time and capacity, energetically, physically to do, and then let other people win and give opportunity instead of, you know, sink back down to mowing lawns, running errands, going to grocery stores, doing laundry, cleaning my house, whatever.
I can
don't
cut
want
my
that back.
grass or play with my sons,
Yeah.
and I'm going to play with my sons.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's where it's at.
100%. You know, there are also things when you have that volume that you work through quietly that aren't so public. So what's something that you've had to work through?
I'm addicted to winning. I love success, right? Like we did it, achievement. I'm really into that. And I just talked about doing less to do more. I'm a big yes man. Hey, can you help me? Yes. Hey, can you? And what I need to pivot to, it might not be a straight up no. It might be yes, I'm going to get you connected with Beth because Beth is really good at X. I'm really good at Y. I could do it for you, but you really should work with Beth in this scenario. That's hard for me because I like learning new things. I like a challenge. Saying, you know, not doing it myself doesn't feel like a win. It doesn't feel like achievement. So that's something that I'm working on. If you're for everyone, you're for no one. Like, who am I for then? And sticking to those boundaries and rules that I gave myself.
Yeah, I think everybody who achieves a level of success, that it also has pain or things that you have to work through, like you said, quietly. Your own little demons, or the flip side of what makes you successful is also going to be a bane of your existence, and you're going to have to learn to, like you said, say no, do things, give other people opportunity, hand them off when you know you can do it, learn.
Think about the first half of my career was like I knocked out first-time home buyers, so many of them. I'm so good at it.
Yeah.
Now, because of the size of my business, I just did a first-time home buyer the other day. It was awesome. But I had to frame how it was going to go working with me. And if someone does need a higher touch, then I need to get them connected with someone who's able to do that so that the client has a better experience.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I had to go through all that, even all buyers. It sometimes is even newer agents for me. Like there are people who want to ask me questions, and it's like, that was a really long time ago. And I honestly have been so far removed, not that I don't know the fundamentals or the principles, but talking to, and I don't even know if you, but like talking to someone else who just did it last year, or who just did it last month, is going to have way better answers of what you need to be doing on the daily than me. Now, when you need to talk about business scaling, having a team, all that, you come and see me, right? And it's not that you don't have those, but it's like getting over yourself and realizing those things quietly. And it's tough because people say, "Oh, you don't care. It's easy." Or like I had the first time homebuyer thing. "Oh, I don't." I have agents say to me, "Well, I still like them." Well, so did I. Or they think it feels like I'm not good enough or that I don't care about them. No, I care about them so much that like
You need to put them in
I need to
the
put them in the
hands of
best
someone
hands.
better than me at it,
Right.
or more resources than me at it.
More resources, yes. So those are like some of the things you go through quietly that might look shallower that you're doing this volume, but it also is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of on this same vein, like what are some things that you think people assume about you that just aren't true?
Everyone thinks it's easy. Everyone thinks that I've had it where, you sell somebody a house and it's maybe only the first, second, third, fourth showing. It happens pretty quick. And they go, "Oh, that was an easy one for you."
Yeah.
And I go back to the reason we sold it so quickly is because of how much experience I have
Yes.
and how quickly I was able to get you from an emotional decision to a logical with coaching and wisdom.
Yes.
So while it may have been a very easy and good experience for you, I paid all my time in this transaction
Yeah.
hundreds of deals ago.
Yeah.
It's my job to make it look easy. And I think those are the clients. Like they want to work with you because of how simple you made it. They don't want to work nights and weekends too. And who does? You don't always have to work nights and weekends. I'm willing to give and take, to trade.
Mm-hmm.
You have so much more flexibility with an economy than you have a 9 to 5, right? So like, yes, there's flexibility. Yes, there's trade-off. It's not easy. It's a lot to navigate. But if you choose to develop in healthy ways, it's the best job in the world.
I agree. Like there's a lot of days I look at, okay, someone goes to a 9 to 5, they're working 8 hours or they have a lunch break. I don't care, whatever, if you're working 7 hours, whatever. So if I went to something of one of my children or I went to the gym or I took a personal appointment, I have to make those hours up somewhere and I'm okay sitting on the couch for an hour after dinner, doing some emails or some follow up. But I think it's always keeping those things in mind. It's not easy, like you said. If you think people look at you and not in that it's easy. And like you said, I think that's a gift that I think some people forget that we should get paid for is all those years of experience, all those relationships that you built to take it full circle back to the very first one that allow you to find off-market properties, get deals done, make it look easy, and it all goes back to people in relationships and how you work.
Your education, a brand new lawyer versus a lawyer who eventually becomes a judge, right? You become a judge because of all the cases and files that you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So real estate, I guess that'd be like broker if you wanted to go that route. But yes, you're paying me for the advice I'm going to give you if it goes south because I've been here before and we need precedence.
Right.
So.
I think about that I compare what we do a lot to attorneys, you're right, and law, because if we do something like in your group or my group or team, right, like we're doing 3, 4, 5, whatever, 500, 600, when you do that many transactions every year, your pulse on the market and your pulse on like what does it take to win and what are people doing is very strong versus somebody, like you said, a lawyer, if they tried, 4 cases a year or 6 cases, we're not judging anything about them. It's just like you said, data, precedence, that's it, just experience, all that, reps, and that's what makes it look easy.
Yep, all the reps make it look easy. Sports, I think, is the same. Olympians train for that 1 minute and nobody sees the years of work that it took to be that brilliant.
I think social media and some of that is highlighted that. Like you just don't realize, even if it's someone who can dance really cool, right? I see people say how to do the slide and like how long it took them to watch the progression of it. Just an average person to do one dance move took them a few months of practice. And that's just it. It's a reps always.
Dance around this inspection. That's what I would say to that.
All right. So in conclusion, one thing is we talked about overwhelm, talked about focus and flow, all of this, right? Looking easy. You said it's best job in the world. With all of that considered, like, have you ever felt like just, quitting or giving up?
Yeah. Everyone has good and bad days. Realtors run their businesses on calendar years. And if you do a high volume, it's kind of like climbing a big mountain.
Yeah.
Right. And, all of a sudden January rolls around and you're like, oh, I'm like back to zero where I have 4, pended for 2026. That can be mentally daunting because how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Yeah. Right. Like that seems like, man, I have to get to 100 transactions. Oh, so who do you surround yourself that fills your energy cup? who's a bigger fish. Like if you want to do 20 deals, hang out with the guy doing 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, right? Like you gotta humanize it. You gotta figure out like, oh, he can do it, she can do it, so can I. That's really important. Being around people who are motivated,
Yeah.
really important. You know, like you're gonna get a better workout at 6 a.m. than noon just because of the people you're around at 6 a.m. versus noon. The weights and everything's the same weight, right? But the energy. Do I ever feel like quitting? Of course, you know, there's times where you're stressed or you go through adversity and, oh, I just want to make it go away. And you process it, you reflect, go out to dinner by yourself maybe, and you figure out what's next, right?
Yeah.
Set a goal, simple things like that.
That's really powerful what you said. I love that. You may think that when you do that many, like that, you would never have that thought because it's just, you know, of quitting. But I think when you're in those moments, like you said, it is just what's next, what's one step. Like you said, if you have 4, what do you have to get to 5? You know, think about quitting, and you and I've had this conversation. That's another thing of evolution is like when you have those 100 and like, what if you don't do 100? What are people going to think of you? And you keep doing it.
Yep. Human psychology.
It's
right?
tough.
That's why having a mentor or a coach
Yeah.
or a comrade, you know, it's really important to have because you're human. You're going to have ups and downs.
I can remember being number 1 in my brokerage in my office. I can remember being number 1 on my team. And then when I wasn't, and there's another guy in my office who's number 1 solo agent, right? What it was like to have to not be the top producer and to let other people win and to let other people shine and let every other person look good. And to know that maybe people, I actually had to go to therapy over it to say like, my therapist said like, okay, Beth, what's the worst they're going to say? Wow, she really got washed up. Like she doesn't sell as many houses as she used to, but like, that's how difficult it was to not be in that position, you know, of what you've done. Mm-hmm.
You could be the most humble person in the world, but you still have an ego.
Yeah.
And processing that ego. And sometimes you need a therapist to help you process
it,
right? But processing that is a good thing. There are healthy ways to cope as well as unhealthy. So like find those healthier ways for sure.
And I think it is, like you said, it's a healthy ways. It's the people you surround yourself with. It's what's next because this whole career, and that's what I always say, it really is a marathon. And I think for whatever reason in my mind, I thought it had to be a sprint, right? I had to do it all and I had to do it all now. And I was on some sort of timeline that I don't really know why it was such a hurry to get there. And that's okay because like I had said to you, that's also part of my story and how I got to where I am. But looking back, you have time, right? And it's just this evolution and not getting fixated on if you were an agent and you feel like quitting one day or you had a bad year. It's not that. It's what's next. And it's the positive in who you're surrounding yourself with and how it's going to change and move forward. Not just that's a whole thing, resiliency, not getting stuck.
You never imagined where you're going to get to. And when you get there, like, you never imagine where you're going to go next either, right? It's just process it and reflect with a healthy coping mechanism.
I think that's a lot. Anything else, like with, you know, thinking about process and focus flow that you would recommend to somebody who's just getting started or not where they want to be or looking to do more or looking at everything that's happening in the real estate market and changing?
A bunch of great cliches, I could say, right? Like conversion happens in conversations. Have as many conversations as possible. The best CRM is the one you use.
Yeah.
I use the Notes app on my iPhone, right? Like there's a million CRMs. The best one is the one that you use. Back to one of my core values, relationships over the transaction. Always define your daily success. You can't have a closing every day.
Right.
You can't sign a contract every day. What do you need to do today to feel successful? Define it, do it every day. Lots of little stuff like that. And that's agents who hang around me more. Like that's the stuff I generally spew out to them. And sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. You know, I'm always looking for people trying to grow. And I'm also trying to be around people bigger than me, also trying to grow. So like the more you can get into those circles, the better.
Yeah, I think that's important. Who you're surrounding yourself with and who you're around. And
There's
we talk a lot about
other
that.
cliches that, you know, you're what do they say? Like you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most, right? Like stuff like that. It's true.
And I think it's a 5, but I think like you said, I think at your team, in my team, like I can't believe it. We hear this all the time. Like when you get in that environment of growth, innovation, success, change for momentum, like it is magical when that is what you're surrounded by.
Yeah. I mean, in comparison to other places, for sure, you know, it's there's so much power in multiple people running in the same direction versus scattered.
Yeah. It's like, I never thought about that. It's like when I used to do marathons, right? I mean, not marathon. I didn't do a marathon, 5Ks, but.
Gotcha. Long runs.
But not long runs, no.
Yeah.
No. But like just a fun 5K, but there's a different energy when I run with my girlfriends. There's a different energy when we decide to go run with a group, even if it's in our pace set, and how I have those memories for years. And that's so powerful. What you just said is, that what you're surrounded by, and when you're all moving in one direction. Because I feel that when I'm aligned with everyone that I'm working with and everyone I'm surrounded by, I love getting up and going to work today. There's less stress.
Less stress. Yep, exactly.